Hey guys, it's Blade again from Concert Security, and today we've got two brand new amps from JBL, the Concert series. Okay, so the two amps we have in front of me, to my left we have the Concert A704, so that is their 4-channel series, and to my right we have the Concert A652, and this is their 2-channel series. So let's open them up and see what you get inside. Okay, so let's start off with the 7004, the bigger 4-channel amp. So here we have it here. This is the amp. So very new design from them. It's different to what they've done so far. You have all of your connections on either side. I'll go through them in depth in a moment. And then the bottom, just JBL stamp. Now with that, you also get instruction manuals, warnings, and main instructions for the amp itself. You have high-level input cables, so it's basically speaker cable in. So if you're using a factory head unit and you're using high level input, you do have the ability to run speaker cable directly into the head, into the amp. And then also you have some screws and some spare fuses. That is it. That's everything that comes with it. Now let's look in depth on the connections on the side. Okay, so on this side of the amp, we have the power inputs and the speaker outputs. So it's a standard setup. You have your ground on the left, your remote in the middle, and your 12 volts on the right. So that's your power going directly to the battery, ground to the chassis, and a remote from your head unit. We also have two 30 amp fuses here to protect the internals of the amp. And then we have all of the outputs. So this is a 4-channel amp, so we have 4 outputs. So we have channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, and channel 4. You obviously have a positive and negative on each channel. Now these can be bridged over. I'll explain the power outputs and how you would bridge. But essentially all it is say you were bridging channel 1 and 2, you would take the positive out of one channel and the negative out of the other. That would give you double the power essentially. Now on this side, we have your adjustments and your RCA inputs. So on the left-hand side here, we have the high-level inputs, so that's where those cable plugs would go. We have high-pass filter and a switch for high-pass or low-pass, sorry, a switch for high-pass or full, and then your levels, that's essentially your gain, and then your frequency. Behind here, we have your RCA inputs, so you have a front and rear RCA input standard set up there. And then we have the adjustments for the rear. So that's your front adjustment, that's your rear adjustment. And then again, rear high-level inputs. That's pretty much it. Okay, now onto the actual spec of the amp. Now the output on this amp at 4 ohms, so you have 70 watts of RMS power by 4, so that's 4 outputs at 4 ohm. You also have 90 watts RMS at 2 ohm, and 180 watts is your bridged output power at 4 ohm only. It's only 4 ohm stable for bridged. So you have 2 channels at 180 watts there. In terms of physical size, I mean, it's not massive. I'd probably say it's about the size of an A4 sheet of paper and about 2 inches or 3 inches high. So it's not a huge amp, it's not a small amp, but these are class A/B amps. Both of the amps I'm showing you today, they're class A/B, so they're not class D, but they are still very good quality and pretty compact for the power they kick out. So let me show you the 2-channel amp now. Okay, so we have the 2-channel amp unboxed here. So it's widely similar to the 4-channel, just basically scaled down. So in terms of the accessories you get, you have a single high-level input plug. You have your normal instruction manuals, which will be the same as the others. And again, you have your screws and your fuses. Now onto the actual amp itself. Obviously, it's pretty much half the size, probably slightly bigger than half the size. Obviously, it's going to be just 2 channels on this. So over on this side here, we'll show you the outputs. I'm going to quickly breeze through this because it's widely similar to the 4-channel, but we have your power inputs here, your speaker outputs here, and obviously the speaker outputs are half as much as the 4-channel, being a 2-channel. So you have a front left and a front right, or rear left, rear right, whatever you're doing there, and you can also bridge with this as well, and a single 30 amp fuse on this one. Now on this side, it's just a simplified version. Again, you have your RCA inputs, your high level input, your level basically level control, which is your gain, your filter, so you have full, high pass or low pass on this, and then you have frequency control. So this can be used for a pair of 6x9s or a pair of speakers, or you could bridge it and use it for a sub, but you would need to make sure you switch this over to low pass if you're using it for a sub. Okay, down to the specs of the amps now. So this one is 65 watts RMS per channel, so that's 2 channels at 4 ohm. This is also 85 watt RMS by 2 channels at 2 ohm, and then 170 watts RMS by 1 at 4 ohm only. So that's by 1 is for just a subwoofer, for instance, but it has to be run at 4 ohm. It's not 2 ohm stable, bridged like any amp really. So your bridge power is only 4 ohm stable. So yeah, both of these amps very, very good. Let's get them back on the table. We'll go through a little bit more and then we'll end the video there. Okay, so that was a quick overview of the new Concert range from JBL amps, so the 4 channel and the 2 channel. But the main reason for this video is to explain why you would need an amp. Now, an amplifier is going to give the correct power, as long as it's spec'd correctly, to your speakers. Now, what I see a lot of the time is a customer will come in and ask for very, very high quality speakers, and they're only going to be running it off of a stock or even aftermarket head unit. The problem with that is, with the higher end speakers, they need a lot more power to play correctly. Now, for instance, say like this amp here is going to give you roughly 60-70 watts RMS. A factory head unit would probably push out maybe 10 watts RMS. An aftermarket head unit is going to be maybe 15 to 18, depending on the spec and the quality of that head unit. So if you're only powering those 60-70 watt speakers by 15 watts, you're not getting half of what you should be out of those speakers. So an amplifier is going to massively increase the volume, increase the clarity of what you're going to get out of those speakers at a lower volume. So yeah, definitely worth investing in. Don't forget an amp for your speakers. Obviously an amplifier for a subwoofer is a must. You have to run an amp for a subwoofer, but an amp for a speakers is definitely a good choice. Okay, so down to pricing on these now. So the A704 is currently on our website at £200. The A652 is on our website at £150. So mid-range pricing, mid-range product in the JBL range. So definitely good bang for buck. But these are available on our website at caraudioSecurity.com and our sister company, The Tuning Store. Or you could even come in store, say hello to me, I can serve you, and we can go through this in person. But that's pretty much it from me. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.